What's happening, everyone? It is Mike from the Hardcover Comic here. Hope everyone has been doing well. I've got two very exciting books I wanted to do a very brief overview on. It's a title that I've mentioned quite frequently. Honestly, I've got my blue Dr. Manhattan kind of shirt on, as blue as I could get. Not as tight, though, so it doesn't look like my skin. But either way, Doomsday Clock. It's a title I mentioned even recently in a couple videos ago that in our my top 10 absolute edition wish list video, because it's an amazing book with incredible artwork by Gary Frank and Brad Anderson. Doomsday Clock, I bit the bullet and I just said, screw it, I'm going to get the two standard size hardcovers. There's a complete collection solicited for the near future. It's a trade paperback. I don't know if we're even going to get a deluxe. I doubt we're going to get an absolute ever. So I figured, it's a title I'm willing to double dip on. It's a title I really enjoy, so I'll just pick these up, and I did. The two volumes collect the entire series. This was a story by Jeff Johns with artwork by Gary Frank. It is the spiritual successor to the Watchmen story by Alan Moore. Of course, a lot of people, it's not what the Watchmen's supposed to be. It's not this, it's not that. We're all trying to define what the Watchmen should be, and honestly, I was one of those people until I read Doomsday Clock, and I realized it's an incredible universe and a set of characters with... there was something incredibly beautiful about that initial storyline that people at the time could relate to, and honestly, even nowadays, is something that we could relate to as a society and as a civilization. And so these characters are going to be relevant for years and years to come. Unfortunately, it doesn't seem like change is happening as fast as we'd like it to, but it's great. This is a wonderful story. If you're a fan of something like the show Watchmen, which is an exploration of what would happen after Watchmen, right, after the initial comic, this is a fantastic story for you to check out, especially if you like the DC characters as well. You get to see, Batman, Superman, and a whole plethora of other characters show up here. You get introduced to Mime and Marionette, who are these fantastic characters. Another great addition to this sort of Watchmen-inspired universe, which is now, I guess, just the regular DC universe. But it's fantastic, especially if you like the show. There are a lot of similarities between some of the way the show structured various elements and characters within it and the way this book does as well. I really like this. It was plagued by delays when it was coming out in the regular issue format. I think this should have been an OGN to begin with because it's super ambitious. It's very dense. There's a lot going on, a lot of different plot lines happening at the same time. And I can imagine it was very tricky to write considering the scope and the ambition of the general project. But these are the two standard hardcovers. You can pick these up for, I believe it is $25 a piece, which is, not great, but not terrible, considering these are standard size hardcovers. But, again, I don't know if we're going to get a deluxe or an absolute, and these are really nice books. The designs of the dust jackets are great. Nothing too complex. There are little things that kind of annoy me, like if you saw the Watchmen on the front is regular font on the first volume and then italicized on volume 2. Little things like that. The spines are thankfully consistent, very crisp, very clean, very Watchmen style. And the back has a nice breakdown of what's happening, some quotes, and some great images of artwork by Gary Frank. Underneath the dust jacket, you're not getting anything too exciting or sexy, but it's still nice, very clean, very... Again, a very nice looking book. Even the Watchmen hardcovers and absolutes didn't have an excess amount of design work on them. But, I really like what they've done with these two books. The binding is kind of tight. Again, it's a 6-issue volume. You're looking at about 200 to 230 pages per volume. Reads really nicely, though, because you can hold it in your hand. You can hold it in bed. You can hold it outside. Now it's great with the weather to read outside a little bit. It's fantastic, though. The story is absolutely brilliant, and if we don't get any other kind of format, I'll be glad that we at least got these two standard size hardcovers. I'll be glad that this story exists, period. And I highly recommend you guys all check it out as well. There's a little bit of bonus content in the back, and of course, the pages are really nice. They're not too thin, they're not too cheap. I'm not going to show off the binding because there's not really much to show off here. This is all about the artwork and the story, and two very handsome volumes here that I just had to. I had bit the bullet and I had to pick them up. I just had to because I just don't know where this is going to go, and I don't want to miss the boat and not have this in my collection in case these go out of print and then there are no new deluxes or anything that come out for it. But anyway, I am rambling. I highly suggest picking up this story if you're a fan of the original Watchmen story, if you're a fan of the show, if you're super hardcore and you hate that anything happened after the Watchmen original miniseries, that's fine too, but you're missing out. Just be open-minded about it. Check out what's going on here. Jeff Johns does something really, really ambitious. He even tries to explain how Superman could have had all these multiple origins over all this time. Really, really ambitious, well thought out. It deserves your attention. People shat on it because of the delays as it was coming out, but as a binge read, this is undeniably good, and I highly recommend you guys all check it out. Thank you all very much for tuning in. This is Mike from the Hardcover Comic. If you guys are interested, we do have the Hardcover Comic t-shirts now. I will get a link down in the description below for you guys to check those out. Check out our Patreon. We do Hardcover Comic giveaways every month. We give away an Omnibus Absolute, new releases that we will do an overview on and get the book over to our winner. We're also giving away whatever Marvel codes we get throughout the week, digital codes, primarily X-Men since I picked those books up. But be sure to subscribe if you haven't already, and thank you all very much for tuning in. Love Doomsday Clock. Let me know what your thoughts were on the title, what you thought of it. Were you one of those people who had to wait every 2-3 months for that single issue? What was that experience like for you? I've never had to experience that myself, but I do appreciate everyone sticking around. I hope you all are staying safe and sound during these tumultuous times, although I guess it's not as bad as people make it out to be. This was Mike from the Hardcover Comic. Thank you all. Until next time, you stay classy, Internet.